What's up, guys? Nick here, and today I wanted to share with you a couple cases that just paid out for us this month, and just kind of the backstory behind them. I'll do some more in-depth case studies on these later, but just wanted to share with you some of the results that we've gotten so far this month in June. So this first check, it's not a huge check, actually a pretty small amount. I don't know if you can see that. Just for 2,800 bucks. So nothing crazy there. Just it's a small deal. This one actually makes me really mad because of what the county pulled. This was a tow, okay? So a tax sale overage. Situation was property went to tax sale, generated roughly 12,000 in overage. So not a huge amount, right? We were the only ones to file a claim on the funds. But the county, the tax commissioner in this particular county in Georgia was like, we need to file an interpleader. And an interpleader, for those of you that don't know, is just when somebody files, basically gives money to the court system. And then the court system has to decide who gets the funds. Now this is fine, and this is very common when there are two or more competing claims on a case. If you ever have competing claims against each other, an interpleader is usually the way to go about solving this problem, because you have to decide, well, who gets what? Are they going to split it? Does one entity get all of the funds and the other entity get zero? That's what an interpleader is for. It's to basically solve issues when there are competing claims for money, okay? In this instance, an interpleader was not necessary. Why? Because we were the only ones that filed a claim. However, the county attorney knew that he could get his attorney fees awarded just for filing an interpleader, just for taking maybe an hour of their time to draft some document as to why an interpleader was needed. They could get their attorney's fees. And in this instance, it was $1,500. Now, the bad thing about that is whenever an interpleader is started within the court system, usually there is a hearing that is associated with that. So my attorney had to go to a hearing as well. And so that's an extra fee on top of the county attorney's fees that comes out of my portion. And so when all was said and done, there were $3,000 worth of fees that came out of the funds, which ultimately dropped my net profit about, in this instance, about $1,500. So this check for 28 should have been over $4,000 net profit. But because the county attorneys, and this again, guys, this just goes to what governments are doing, local governments, state governments, they're hoarding this money. And then if they can see an opportunity where they can make an extra dollar, in this case, an extra $1,500, they will take that, no questions asked. They will take every advantage of that opportunity, and which they did in this case. So, to the tax commissioner in this county, I'm not gonna say which county it is in Georgia, but screw you, man. It's just not right. Because like the homeowner is a guy, single dad, has 2 daughters, and it's like there was no point to file an interpleader. But the county attorney just saw an opportunity to make a quick extra $1,500, and so they took it and they got it. And then of course I'm mad, obviously, because my net profit's $1,500 less because of the extra fees I incurred. Now, did I have to pay those fees up front? No. The fees came out of the surplus amount, but they came out of my portion, not the client's. The client in this case got over $10,000. So that was a win for the client. And ultimately, that's what we aim for, right? The client has to win, because if the client wins, then we win. So little backstory on that one. This second check, a little better. I don't know if you can see it here. So this one's for $12,000. See my company name there. This one was a straightforward case, just worked with the homeowner. There were no issues, no liens, anything like that. The funds were being held by a court, so again, we used an attorney to petition the court for the funds, and that $12,000 is my net profit after attorney's fees. And we didn't pay any upfront attorney's fees on that case either. The attorney took his fees out of the surplus once it was recovered. So takeaway from that, guys, is I think there's a misconception that you have to pay attorney's fees up front, and that's not always the case. Attorney's fees are negotiable, and you can always negotiate your attorneys to take a percentage on the back end. That's called a contingency fee. You can even negotiate a flat rate contingency fee, meaning they charge a flat rate for just a simple claim that goes through, but they take the funds out of on the back end. When the surpluses are covered, they take their fee. And that's great because then you don't have to come out of pocket for any fees, okay? So there's that for you. Pretty straightforward case on that one. I have to give credit where credit is due. Both of these deals were with my partner, Kenneth. So Kenneth, you're the man. So Kenneth is gonna get 2 checks here. And then I have a third check. Now this check is a very small amount. It's only for $375, right? This check is not an overage deal. It is not a surplus funds deal. Okay, this is what I would call, what I've termed a pre-overage deal. And what I mean by pre-overage is this is actually a check that I received for helping a homeowner prior to the auction, prior to the foreclosure and or tax sale. For this one, it's a foreclosure, so it's a MO. And basically it's a rent check. It's a rent check from a property that I don't own. And that is recurring revenue. So this is not the first check that I've received from this property. But it's a strategy that you can help homeowners prior to the foreclosure sale or the tax sale. And you can, what you do is you profit share with the homeowner. So you split your profits with the homeowner, just like you do on overages. And what you do is you help them. I'm not gonna explain the whole details here on the video, but you just help them be able to postpone the foreclosure and then be able to cash flow the property. So, and that's kind of a cool strategy, because you can get recurring revenue, recurring monthly rental checks, so to speak, on property that you don't even own. And that's kind of cool. Now, that check is from one of the first deals I've done with that strategy. So I am not an expert in that strategy. I've only done one deal so far using that strategy. So it's not something that I teach right now, but it's something that I'm exploring. And which leads me to another point, which I want to make. What you'll find, guys, is when you're doing this business, you will find that there are little sub niches that you can also explore, different ways to make an income that are related to surplus funds and related to overages. You know, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of state funds, bankruptcy funds. Those are other niches, right, that are similar to ours. There's also pre-overages, is what I call it, where you're helping homeowners prior to the foreclosure or prior to the tax sale. There are other strategies you can use where you can help homeowners in a very short window called a redemption period. And these are both for TOs and MOs, tax sales and mortgage foreclosures. Not all states have redemption periods, but there are certain states where the homeowner has a chance to redeem their property and be able to keep it and not lose it to the investor that bought it at the auction, whether it's a tax sale or a foreclosure auction. okay? So there is a lot of different strategies you can use. But here's a point I want to make. When you're just starting out, guys, focus on one strategy, get really good at it, and develop a good system around it before you go into other strategies, okay? And the reason behind that is, if you are trying to execute multiple strategies at the same time, what happens is you make a little progress in each one, which means you don't see any substantial results in any of the strategies. I learned this the hard way. So when I left my job at the prison, my plan was, it was not the best plan in the world. It was not a clear plan. My plan was, okay, I've done a couple overage deals, so I'm going to do overages. I've done a couple wholesale deals, so I'm going to do wholesaling at the same time. And then I'm like, I just got my real estate license, so I'll be a realtor at the same time. So I was like, I'll do 3 things simultaneously, and I'll have 3 different streams of income. And I thought that was a good plan. What ultimately happened is, by doing all of those strategies at the same time, I didn't get anywhere in any of them. It wasn't until I decided to focus 100% on overages and surplus funds that I actually made progress and I actually saw results. So the takeaway there is, focus on one strategy first, develop a good system around it. Then when you've done that, then you can start exploring different strategies, like this pre-overage strategy that I shared with you. So I hope that helps, guys. And if you guys are in the elite, for those of you in the elite program, we're going to be talking about that pre-overage strategy on Monday. So stay tuned for that. One other quick caveat, just to piggyback off of what I just said, work one strategy, guys. Because there's a misconception out there. The misconception is this. You've probably seen this on Instagram or Facebook or just floating around the internet, that millionaires have multiple streams of income, right? And there's truth to that, but there's a part of that that's not being taught. And the part that's not being taught is, most millionaires, they don't start off with multiple streams of income. And I've seen this true with the people that I've met, the millionaires I've met in my masterminds and stuff like that. Here's what actually happens. They get really good at one thing, like one business, one stream of income. And they get so good at that one stream of income that ultimately they have additional money that they then can invest in other streams of income, or they can take extra money from their one business, their one core thing, and they can take that money and go start another business. Or they can take that money and go invest in real estate or in cryptocurrency or whatever it is. And guys, I believe that to be 100% true, that most millionaires, yes, have multiple streams of income, but they didn't start with multiple streams. They got good at one thing, one strategy, one business, and then they took the profits from that business and started other businesses or invested in other assets. And so that's why I tell you, if you're doing overages, focus on overages. Don't try to do multiple strategies at the same time, because you won't get anywhere fast, okay? And believe me, I am guilty of that. I learned that the hard way. Even when I was learning about overages, I should be much farther ahead than where I am now, because in the beginning, when I was learning about overages, I was also learning about other real estate strategies. And every time I learned about a new strategy, I would kill the momentum in my overage business and just restart doing something else. And it's shooting yourself in the foot when you do that, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And honestly, guys, for me, I've noticed that too. As I focus on my core business, it's able to grow to a point where then you can use extra funds to invest in other things. Like you can invest in other businesses like this pre-overage strategy thing that I did. There was an investment to that. I had to learn how to do that. So I had to invest in that business. If I go and buy Bitcoin, well, I need extra money from my core business in order to do that. If I go buy judgment liens, which is something I've also done in the past. If I go buy judgment liens, I use the money from my core business, from my overage business, to invest in other asset classes like crypto or judgment liens, or to explore other business strategies like the pre-overage strategy. E-commerce, buying e-commerce stores, stuff like that. There's lots of things, guys, but focus on one thing. Focus on one thing and get really good at it, and then diversify, and then you can develop other streams of income, okay? All right, I hope that helps you guys. Again, I'll do these case studies, more in-depth case studies on these deals, and that's pretty much it, guys. Oh, for those students that took advantage of the offer and joined the coaching program, if you were on the Zoom call last week, then you know that we cut that in half. We cut the price of the coaching program in half. I'll see you on tonight's call, 6:30 Mountain Time. If you want to watch that Zoom, go inside the course and just scroll down to the bottom and you'll see the Zoom replays section, and you can check out the replay of the Zoom we had last week, and you can get all the details of the coaching group, the link, and the new price, which has been cut in half. So you can check that out inside the course. And until next time, guys, we'll see you.